Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome and thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 ways to improve your blues soloing. I've got 5 tips that you can put to use no matter what the scale, no matter what style of blues you're playing. All of these will help improve your playing. So the first tip is, of course, my old standard: don't start your licks on beat 1. Now, maybe you've heard me say this before, maybe you haven't, I don't know, but I'm going to make sure you hear me say it now. If you start a lick on beat 1, it might work out. If you don't start your lick on beat 1, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to sound okay. This is just something, it comes from when blues, originated from slave songs, work songs, way back in the day. There was a call and response. Your licks really need to be the response. Let the band handle the call. The call's on the downbeat. You therefore play not on the downbeat, somewhere else. All right, let me give you an example. If I'm playing a simple lick, 2, a 3, a 4, a okay. And I'll even put it over a track. 3, 4. Right? Check it out if I take it off and I'll put it on beat 2. A 1. It gets instantly cooler. That sounds awkward. This doesn't. 1. All right, so right off the bat, that's the easiest way to make your solo sound better. Just don't start the licks on beat 1, okay? For my second tip, use your second string root instead of your first string root. Now, this is one of those things, right? A lot of us, we play in box 1. So if I'm in A, I end up here, all right? And this is fine, but it's on the first string. It's a little bit tricky to add vibrato. I just don't have nearly as much control over this note as I do over this note. I have a lot more space. It's easier to rake. If I want to do a bend, it has to be a 1.5 bend to be pentatonic, but I certainly couldn't do that there. It's not going to work out, all right? So any chance you get to that root instead of that root within that minor pentatonic, good old box 1 pattern. All right, tip number 3. Don't let the last note of your licks hang out. This is a really common mistake I see from newer soloists. They'll play a lick and then it'll just sort of hang out there while they think of the next thing to play, sort of waiting for it to magically appear. Even worse is when it's a bend and it sort of starts to fall off as the hand gets tired. These are not what... and it just sits there. That's not at all what we want. There's a lot of options. Right? I can slide off. I can slide up. I can just kill it. I can, go to like another note. Like that, right? I can, add a little vibrato. But even if I do add some vibrato, I don't want to just let it sit there, unless you're trying to do like controlled feedback or something. So kill it, or slide it off, or slide it up, right? All of those give some sort of effect. It's sort of like, putting just the right sort of punctuation at the end of your sentence. It makes a statement, it makes a point. The way you end a lick or a line or whatever you're going to call it really says a lot about you as a player. So pay attention to it because it's a subtle detail, but it's an important one. All right, tip number 4 is to syncopate. what is syncopation? Syncopation in a nutshell is taking the execution of a note, the attack of a note. When we hit a note, take it off of a downbeat and put it on an upbeat. So when you start accenting the upbeats, and what I mean by the upbeats, we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those ands or uhs, whatever you're calling them, depending on how you divide the beat, those are the upbeats, right? So if we take a very simple idea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, and all I'm doing is walking down my scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now already it doesn't sound too bad because notice I didn't start on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, but what happens if I take beat 3 and I just sort of don't play there? I just kind of wait. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, now I might have to adjust the rest of my line, but as soon as I get away from 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now, everything is just straight eighth notes. There's no rhythmic variety whatsoever. As soon as I add in just a touch of syncopation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Right? I did it in a couple of places. I could do it maybe in 3 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that lick, that simple idea of nothing but marching down the scale becomes infinitely more interesting simply by having some push and pull on the beat. Okay, one of my favorite things to do is to do something like quarter note triplets or half note triplets within the beat. If you're not familiar with quarter note triplets, I have another video on how to do that. That's a little bit more for not so much for this video, but quarter note triplets are a fantastic way to 3, 4, and they give you that sort of that sort of push and pull against the beat that makes it sound really, really interesting, even if it's a simple idea. Syncopation goes a long ways. All right, and last but not least, tip number 5, use what I call the big bend, okay? It's blues and it's guitar. Bends are a huge part of it, okay? So don't be afraid right, if you're playing 2, 3, 4. Right, one big bend. One big bend goes a long ways. And if you listen to, the masters of blues soloing, in the course of that 12 or 24 bars, there's going to be a spot where you're probably going to hear that big bend, that big crying bend. I don't hear enough new blues players using it. It's used well, it's incredibly effective. For all of the reasons I've stated, it breaks things up rhythmically, it breaks things up melodically. If you, of course, don't start it on beat 1, it handles that. It handles so many different things. And you can take, maybe you have 4 licks and you need 5. Well, that one big bend, can add an entire measure or an entire 2 measures to one of your other licks. You need to fill a little space, that big bend can go a long way. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed these 5 tips. Hope you got some ideas out of them. As always, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to share this video with guitar playing friends, and I'll see you soon.